So as I pull away from Tesla supercharger with Magic Dock in Enfield, Connecticut, it makes me think, is 2024 going to be the year of charging? I think there's going to be some big things happening in the world of EV charging in 2024, not the least of which is that Tesla's network is going to open up to CCS cars. As we all know, virtually every manufacturer, save maybe I think for Volkswagen at this point, has signed up for the NACS port in their 2025 models, and most manufacturers at the very least will be making an adapter available next year to allow those of us with CCS cars to charge at the Tesla supercharger. My Polestar 2 is one of those manufacturers. Polestar is signed on to NACS. They have told me that in spring of 2024 there'll be an adapter available for purchase, and I can't wait for that, because the adapter combined with any V4 sites that are coming online, and some of them already are in the US, and there'll certainly be more and more as we go through the year next year in 2024. Those all have the Magic Dock built in, so CCS cars will be able to pull right up to those. You won't even need an adapter if you don't have one, but just the ability to be able to charge at the Tesla supercharger just makes every CCS car that's out there better, right? It's better. And honestly, you know, I've said this before, I mean, if you have your choice between charging at a Tesla supercharger or charging at an EA or EVgo or any other charging network, like, which would you choose? You would choose Tesla, because you know it's the most reliable as far as you know you're going to get chargers that work almost every time, and they just work. You know, you're not going to be pulling into a Tesla supercharger site wondering, geez, I hope 3 out of 4 aren't down, because that never happens at a Tesla site, or almost never. Pretty rare. So then that makes me think, okay, CCS cars are going to have the ability to charge at Tesla superchargers. That's really cool. What I wonder is if a lot of people, and I think this will be the case, that a lot of people will kind of be like me and think, okay, well, I would rather charge at the Tesla supercharger than EA or anywhere else. And I think a lot of people are going to do that. So number one, what does that do to the current Tesla owners? They're probably not going to love it. A lot of those charging sites are probably going to fill up a lot faster than they probably do now. Just the Magic Dock site that I just left, there was one Tesla Model Y charging, but there was also a Kona, an F-150 Lightning, and a Chevy Bolt, and me. So 4 out of 5 cars that were charging at that site were non-Teslas already. So I think that's kind of a sign of where things are going to go. So if more and more CCS drivers are going to Tesla superchargers, will EA, EVgo, those other sites, will they see a drop in users and think to themselves, oh, well, we don't need to expand our network. We don't need to go to the sites that don't have enough plugs and add more. We don't need more dispensers. We don't need more posts, because look, our usage has gone down. When that's not the case, they still need to expand and to get better quality-wise, step up their maintenance game, because those sites are still going to be needed. EV drivers are still going to depend on the EAs and the EVgos of the world, because Tesla's just never going to be enough for everybody. And as more and more electric cars hit the road, more and more DC fast charging is going to be needed just for road tripping, and for people that maybe live in an apartment where they can't charge at home, they need to use the fast chargers. So my fear is that companies like EA, who in my opinion don't really care about customer service or about quality or about maintenance, I kind of feel like they're just going to think to themselves, oh, well, our user numbers have gone down because Tesla's open now, so they'll just care even less and do an even more piss poor job than they already do. So I hope that doesn't happen, and I hope that instead of feeling like they don't have to be that good because Tesla will bail them out, that maybe they'll start to step up their game, not only because of the competition from Tesla, but also the comparison, because Tesla's experience is just superior to anyone else's. Maybe save for ChargePoint. I feel like ChargePoint chargers just always work. As long as they're online, when you plug in, you charge. I've never been to a ChargePoint charger that gave me an error. But nonetheless, I think everybody would agree that Tesla's charging experience is by far the best. And, I would hope that companies like EA and EVgo would want to be as good or better than Tesla, and attract more customers, because at the end of the day, they want to make money. I mean, we all know that EA was set up as a punishment for Dieselgate, and it wasn't necessarily a for-profit venture when it started. But I don't think Volkswagen wants to just continue to lose money on it. I think they want to make money on it. And as more and more electric cars hit the road, there's certainly going to be an opportunity to make a lot of money on DC charging. So, and the only way that's going to happen is if it's a reliable, pleasant experience. If it's painful every time you go to an EA station, people are going to stop going. And, I don't know there's anybody else that's really picking up the slack. There's EA, there's EVgo, ChargePoint. There's not a lot of large-scale national EV charging out there. I'm hoping that Rivian, Mercedes, Ford will make all their chargers available to all drivers. I think that would be a smart thing on their part, because they can make money. I mean, it would make total sense that they would take the Tesla model where if you're charging your customers, the Tesla drivers, Tesla vehicles, let's say 41 cents per kilowatt hour, and you charge everybody else 51 cents per kilowatt hour, you make more money on the cars that you didn't manufacture. I would expect Ford, Mercedes, Rivian to do the same thing. And anybody else that decides to get into the charging game. BP made that big splash where they bought $100 million worth of Tesla V4 chargers, and they're going to start putting them at their travel centers. That's smart. I think that's why I feel like 2024 is the year of charging, or at least the year that we're going to see some major leaps forward in charging, because I think a lot of the the dino juice companies, all those oil companies, are starting to realize that ICE cars aren't really going anywhere just yet, but they will be, and electric cars are becoming more and more popular. There's more and more of them hitting the road all the time, and the future certainly is in electric vehicles. I don't think that 50 years from now there's still going to be any manufacturers making ICE cars. 50 years from now they're going to be electric, and I think the companies that are smart are going to start converting some of their gas stations and starting adding charging. I think it probably won't be 2024, but sometime in the next few years, certainly before the end of the 20s, you'll start to see certain gas stations where they're taking out pumps and replacing them with electric charging posts. That's going to start to happen, I think, before 2030. And I think next year is kind of going to be the leaping off point for a lot of that, because those BP chargers will start getting into the ground next year. There are other companies like 7-Eleven that has their own charging network. Shell is getting into it. I think you'll see more and more of that, certainly over the next few years. And 2024 is kind of going to be the beginning of that. So it's kind of an exciting time. And if you're like an EV nerd, like I am, and like a lot of people out there are, this becomes an exciting time, because especially if you have a CCS EV with the Tesla supercharger network opening next year, that's super exciting for anybody that has a CCS vehicle, just to know that there'll be so many more options. Now, I know it's not the entire supercharging network, but it's going to open up a lot of extra charging opportunities for CCS drivers, and it will certainly cut down on you know, as Out of Spec Dave would say, the charging anxiety. It's not range anxiety anymore, it's charging anxiety. You know that the sites are there, but the question is, are they going to work when you roll up? And I think that a lot of that's going to start to go away. And I think we're going to start to see, I hope anyway, from companies like EA, we're going to start to see better maintenance, more uptime of their chargers. I mean, it really can't get much worse. And honestly, again, if they want to stay in business and they want to have customers, they basically have to do it, because you know, EV drivers depend on the charge point operators, and if you're not dependable, you're not going to be used. I mean, you never pull up to a gas station, you know, worrying that, you know, 3 or 4 out of 8 pumps are going to be down, because that never happens. And it shouldn't happen with EV charging either. It should be better, and I think we're going to start to finally see it getting better. And it's, you know, it's a result, yes, of the Tesla supercharger network opening, but I think it's also the fact that more and more EVs are hitting the road. I think these companies are starting to realize that, no, we've got to get better, because, you know, there's a lot of government money involved too, and if you want your piece of that pie, you've got to be doing a good job. And I don't think the government is necessarily known for high quality, but you know, if people are complaining, you know, terrible networks aren't going to get all that NEVI money. So, you know, let's hope that 2024 is what I hope will be the beginning of a real sea change in EV charging. I think it will be. I don't think, you know, it's going to be perfect just a year from now, but I think it'll certainly be exponentially better, and we'll be able to see the future getting brighter and brighter. I think this is the year we're going to start to see real progress being made, and I think you know, that bodes well for the future. So I'm hopeful. I'm always kind of pretty much optimistic, looking forward to what's coming next, and hopefully it's a brave new world of high quality EV charging out there in the next several years. So with that, I will talk to you guys later. As you know, EVs are awesome, and it is okay to be awesome. See you guys in the next one. Bye.